for putting the button on, we find a nice location. I kind of back it off a little bit from the end of the flap. And then what I've done is, once I'm satisfied with where it's at and it's nice and centered, I put a little white gel pen dot right there, right where it's going to go. And then I take my big eye, really large eye needle with some of this Eslon nylon cord, and I've doubled it so that when you sew it on, you'll have double strength through the attachment point of the button. And then about an 1/8 inch from the top and about an 1/8 inch below, 1/8 inch above and an 1/8 inch below the center of where the button's going to go. I just kind of push my big eye needle through the leather. And I have stuffed the bag so that it was filled out more to help me center the button where I want it. Now I'll take the stuffing out, and I'm just going to push my needle all the way through. You don't need to punch any holes with a hole punch or anything when you're putting these on, because that's overkill. It would just probably stretch out over time. It's better off just to sew right through the leather with the big needle. So I've got a couple of big holes there punched through. And in the case of this button, I went above and below my dead center location, because this button, it doesn't really matter how it's orientated relative to the fastener, because the pattern is the same all the way. But on a button like this, you would want to note which way, like this little dragonfly, you would want to note which way you wanted him to sit or face, and then check the attachment point on the back. And like, say if you wanted the dragonfly on this button facing sideways, then you would make sure that your holes from dead center were on the sides, versus like if you wanted him facing straight up, you can see that you would want your holes the way I have these. So just make sure that you note which way the button's design will be orientated relative to the fastener on the back when you start some holes. So I've got some holes, and I'm going to stick my hand inside the bag now. If I can fit my hand in there. And I'm going to come up through one. If I can find it. So I came right up through the hole that I just punched with my hand. And I've got double nylon cord, which will be in your kit with a big large eye needle, be easy to thread. And then I'm going through the button. Back down through the other hole with my other hand inside the bag. And if you can't pull it through, take some needle nose pliers and fish them up in there, get a hold of the needle. And pull it through. So now you have, you can see you have double cord inside, get this in front of the double cord inside the, there's the button. Inside the bag. I'm just gonna cut the needle off. And now I'm going to turn the whole bag inside out so I can get good access and tie a good knot. So there's my knots. And as you can see, they're like about a 1/4 inch bite across the stitch, because you don't want it so close that over time it just tears out the leather and wears the hole through. So I'm just doing a kind of a double overhand knot. I'll tie it pretty tight. And then I'm going to do something kind of like this. And roll that down. And I'm going to take my pliers where I can hold on to the knot. I can hold on to it like that. And I'm going to pull on one at a time. Make sure they're all really drawn up good. And I'm going to cut it, I'm going to leave it kind of long because it doesn't hurt anything down in the bag there, and you might need to get a hold of it for some reason, or so I'm going to leave it kind of crazy long like that. And then just turn it right side out again. Get the strap out of the way. I'll put a little stuffing in the bag. so we can get the full effect here. And there's a button.